Someone cuts you off in traffic, that's it, that's all it takes. One car, one stranger, 1 second, and your entire morning is gone. Your coffee goes cold because you're too tense to enjoy it. You snap at a coworker over something small. You carry that irritation into a meeting, into lunch, into your evening, and by the time you're home, you're exhausted, not from the work you did, but from all the reactions you had. Here's what nobody talks about. Most of us aren't tired from living. We're tired from fighting constantly, unconsciously, against a world that was never going to cooperate in the first place. And the worst part? We keep losing, every single day. But what if the problem isn't out there? What if you're the one making yourself miserable and you don't even know it? Look, I'm not going to stand here and give you a list of motivational quotes that sound great and change nothing. What I'm going to do is walk you through 5 mental tools built by some of the sharpest minds in human history that will fundamentally change how you respond to the world around you. This isn't about becoming cold. This isn't about pretending things don't bother you. It's about something far more powerful than that. It's about becoming someone that almost nothing can break. If you're new here, this channel is about using Stoic philosophy as a practical system for building a stronger, calmer, more intentional life. Not theory, not ancient history lessons, real tools for real situations. Hit subscribe if that's what you're looking for. And let's get into it. Okay, so here's a scenario. You send your boss an email, an important one, and they don't respond. Hours pass, nothing. And your mind immediately goes to work. Did I say something wrong? Are they upset with me? Am I getting fired? Do they think I'm incompetent? By the end of the day, you've convinced yourself there's a problem, even though all that actually happened was your boss didn't respond to an email. That's it. That's the fact. 1 sentence. No response received. Everything else, the anxiety, the worst-case scenarios, the stories, you created all of that on your own, without any help. And here's what almost nobody realizes. The story is almost always worse than reality. The Stoics called this the power of impression, the automatic narrative your mind attaches to every event. And they were obsessed with learning how to separate the impression from the event itself. Marcus Aurelius wrote, and I want you to really hear this, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. But it goes deeper than a quote. He was describing a discipline, a daily practice of catching yourself the moment you start adding meaning to a neutral event. Here's a tool I want you to start using. Whenever something happens, something that triggers a reaction in you, stop and ask yourself just one question. What actually happened here? 1 sentence, just the fact. Not what it means, not what it might lead to, just what objectively occurred. The car in front of you slowed down suddenly. That's the fact. The fact is not, this person is an idiot who's trying to ruin my commute. Your partner didn't text back for 2 hours. That's the fact. The fact is not, they're clearly pulling away and we're heading for a breakup. Someone laughed when you spoke in a meeting. That's the fact. The fact is not, everyone thinks I'm incompetent and now my reputation is over. When you strip the event down to just what happened, something remarkable occurs. The emotional charge drops almost immediately. Because most of the pain we carry isn't from life, it's from our interpretation of life. Epictetus, a man who was born a slave and still became one of the greatest teachers of mental freedom in history, put it simply, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. And the first step to better reactions is learning to see more clearly. Now let me ask you something honestly. How much of your mental energy on any given day goes toward things you have absolutely zero control over? What other people think of you, whether the weather cooperates, how the economy moves, what someone said about you behind your back, whether your flight is delayed, whether you got the promotion, whether your team wins. Be honest with yourself. For most people, the answer is almost all of it. And this is the core wound of modern life. We are burning ourselves out, trying to control a world that has never once asked for our permission. The Stoics built their entire philosophy around one foundational question. Is this up to me? Just 4 words. But those 4 words, used consistently, are one of the most powerful filters you will ever have. Epictetus divided all of existence into 2 categories. Things within your control, your thoughts, your choices, your values, your responses. And things outside your control, literally everything else. And he wasn't saying the outside world doesn't matter. He was saying that directing your energy toward it is guaranteed suffering. Think about it like a river. You're standing at the edge of a fast-moving river, and you've decided that you're going to control where it goes, so you push against the current. You dig in, you fight with everything you have, and the river just keeps flowing, because that's what rivers do. Now you're exhausted, soaking wet, and the river hasn't changed at all. That's what it looks like when we rage against circumstances we can't control. But here's the thing, you're not powerless at the river's edge. You can choose where to walk. You can choose how to cross. You can choose what to build with the water. Those choices are yours completely, and that's where all your energy belongs. I want you to think of someone in your life right now who's draining you. Maybe it's a coworker who constantly takes credit for other people's work. Maybe it's a family member who criticizes everything you do. Maybe it's a friend who cancels plans last minute over and over again. Now ask yourself, what in this situation is actually within my control? Your boundaries, your responses, your decision about how much access this person has to your energy, your choice to have a conversation or to create distance. That's it. That's your sphere. Everything outside of it, their behavior, their reasoning, whether they ever change, that's their sphere. And pouring your peace into their sphere is one of the most expensive habits a human being can have. Okay, I know what some of you are thinking right now. That sounds great in theory, but you don't know the people in my life. Fair enough, because here's the honest truth. Stoicism doesn't ask you to pretend difficult people don't exist. It doesn't ask you to smile through abuse or manufacture warmth you don't feel. What it does ask is this: what if difficult people aren't obstacles to your peace, but the actual training ground for it? Let me tell you about a man named James. James worked in an open-plan office. Smart guy, genuinely talented, and he had a colleague, let's call her Karen, who made his days almost unbearable. She'd talk over him in meetings. She'd question his decisions publicly. She once took an idea he'd presented in private and presented it to leadership as her own. For months, James responded the way most of us would. He vented to his friends. He stewed on the drive home. He rehearsed arguments in the shower. He got so consumed by what Karen was doing that he started underperforming because he was spending so much mental energy on her. And then one day, a mentor sat him down and asked, "Who's actually controlling your behavior right now, you or Karen?" James didn't have an answer. The Stoics had a phrase for people like Karen. They called them an opportunity for virtue. Not an insult, not a dismissal, an opportunity. Because the truth is, patience isn't built in comfortable rooms. Patience is built in traffic. It's built in difficult conversations. It's built in moments of genuine provocation where you find out what you're actually made of. Marcus Aurelius, who, remember, was the most powerful man in the Western world at the time, wrote in his private journal, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." He wasn't being poetic. He was being precise. Every difficult person in your life is giving you a live test of the character you claim to be building. Do you say you're patient? Here's Karen. Do you say you're slow to anger? Here's the coworker who interrupts you. Do you say you're confident in your own worth? Here's the family member who doubts everything you do. These aren't punishments. These are classrooms, and the way you respond to them, not the way they behave, but the way you respond, that's where your actual character lives. James eventually stopped engineering revenge. He stopped rehearsing arguments. He focused entirely on what he could control: the quality of his work, the clarity of his communication, and the decision to not let one difficult person dictate the quality of his day. Karen didn't change much, but James got promoted. And more importantly, he stopped losing sleep. Here's something Marcus Aurelius used to do when he was overwhelmed. He would zoom out. Not metaphorically, actually deliberately, consciously zoom out, until the problem in front of him became very, very small. He'd think, in 100 years, will anyone remember this moment? And then he'd go further. In 1,000 years, what will remain of everything I'm carrying right now? This might sound like nihilism, like nothing matters, so why bother? But that's the exact opposite of what the Stoics meant. What they were doing was this: they were using perspective as a tool to distinguish between what's genuinely important and what just feels important because it's happening right now. Think about the things that wrecked you 5 years ago. The argument you had with someone that felt like it would never end. The embarrassment you couldn't shake, the rejection that felt like it defined you, the job you didn't get, the relationship that fell apart. How much of that still carries the same weight today? For most of us, almost none of it. And yet, in those moments we were convinced it was devastating. We gave those events enormous power over us. We let them shrink our world. The Stoics called this practice the view from above. It's the act of mentally stepping back, outside your city, outside your country, outside your time, outside your lifetime, and asking, how big is this really? Not to dismiss your pain, not to tell yourself it doesn't matter, but to recalibrate, to stop treating every setback like it's the end of the story when you're clearly still in the middle of it. Here's how to practice this. Next time something is bothering you, something that feels urgent and all-consuming, ask yourself 3 questions. Will this matter in a week? Will this matter in a year? Will this matter in 10 years? If the answer to all 3 is no, and most of the time it will be, then you're not dealing with a crisis. You're dealing with a moment, and moments pass. If the answer is yes, if this genuinely will matter in a year or a decade, then it deserves your full, calm, rational attention. Not your panic, not your rage, your attention, your best thinking, your clearest response. The cosmic perspective doesn't make you passive, it makes you proportionate. It teaches you to match the size of your response to the actual size of the problem, which, for most daily frustrations, is much, much smaller than it feels. Everything we've talked about so far, the distanced perception, the sphere of control, the character test, the cosmic view, all of it converges in one moment. The moment between what happens and what you do about it. That gap, that tiny, almost invisible sliver of time. The Stoics called it the faculty of choice, the one faculty that can never be taken from you. No matter what someone does, no matter what life throws at you, there is always, always a space between stimulus and response. Viktor Frankl, who survived Nazi concentration camps, described this exact thing. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. That space is everything. Here's the problem. Most of us have let that space collapse to almost nothing. We've practiced reactive living so consistently for so long that the gap between trigger and explosion is essentially zero. Someone says something sharp, and we're already firing back before we've even fully heard it. Someone cuts us off, and our heart rate spikes before our rational mind has a chance to ask, does this actually matter? But that space can be rebuilt, and it's rebuilt through one practice. The pause. Not a long pause. Not hours of meditation before you respond to anything. A millisecond pause, a breath, A single conscious beat where you interrupt the automatic reaction and ask, who do I want to be in this moment? Not, who does this person deserve to see? Not, what do I feel like doing? But, who do I want to be right now? Because here's the thing. Your reactions are building your character whether you're paying attention or not. Every time you choose the pause, you're training patience. Every time you choose the breath over the explosion, you're training discipline. Every time you let the insult land without giving it power, you're training freedom. And every time you don't, every time you let the automatic reaction win, you're training the opposite. You're practicing a version of yourself you probably don't actually want to be. Seneca wrote, "Lay hands on yourself and call yourself to account." That's the practice. That's the daily work. Not grand transformation. Not a single revelation that changes everything forever. The daily, boring, unglamorous work of choosing again and again who you are. Let me give you the most practical version of this tool. When you feel triggered, really triggered, the kind where your jaw tightens and your chest gets hot, before you say or do anything, do this: one deep breath. Slow inhale, slower exhale, and in that breath, ask yourself, what is the wisest response here? Not the most satisfying response, not the response that makes you feel powerful in the short term. The wisest response. Sometimes the wisest response is speaking, sometimes it's staying quiet, sometimes it's leaving the room, sometimes it's having a hard conversation calmly instead of an easy argument loudly. But you can't access that wisdom on autopilot. You can only find it in the pause. So let me bring this together. The world is going to keep moving exactly the way it wants to. People are going to continue being difficult. Traffic is going to continue being traffic. Things are going to go wrong in ways nobody planned for. None of that is going to change. But you can. Not because you'll become indifferent, not because you'll stop caring about things, but because you'll stop being a passive receiver of whatever the world sends your way, and start being someone who chooses how to engage with it. That's what freedom actually is. Not a life without problems, but a life where no problem can take your peace without your permission. The 5 tools we talked about today aren't philosophy for philosophy's sake. Distanced perception. Strip the event down to just the fact. Sphere of control. Ask yourself what is actually yours to change. The character test. Let difficult people reveal your strength, not your weakness. Cosmic perspective. Zoom out until the problem finds its actual size. Rational will. Use the pause. These are practices. They get better the more you use them. And they compound slowly, steadily, into a version of yourself that is genuinely harder to shake. Marcus Aurelius wrote his private journal, what we know today as Meditations, not as a book for the world, but as a reminder to himself. The most powerful man alive, reminding himself every single day of the basics. That should tell you something. Even the people who've mastered this stuff have to practice it every day. So here's where I want to leave you. Think about your life right now. Think about the thing that most consistently steals your peace, the thing that gets under your skin, that you've probably accepted as just the way things are. Now ask yourself honestly, is this thing actually in my control? Or have I just been practicing how to suffer from it? That question is worth sitting with. If this video gave you something, a single shift, a single moment of clarity, drop it in the comments. I genuinely read them. Tell me, what in your daily life takes your peace most consistently? If you want more of this, tools from Stoicism applied to the real noise of modern life, subscribe to this channel. We go deep here, and we do it regularly. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one.